Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales and her royal family. Today we bring you some significant news. Catherine and Carole Middleton break silence over Camilla. We can't keep this secret anymore. An insider source reports that Queen Camilla has made disparaging comments against Princess Catherine's parents in relation to their financial decline over party pieces. Camilla allegedly said that Carole and Michael Middleton should refrain from participating in any official engagements since their tarnished image may draw unfavorable media attention to the royal family. This compelled Princess Catherine and her mother to speak out for the first time, refuting all of Camilla's assertions against their family and disclosing a startling fact about her. That was the day when the truth came to light. Pink streaks pouring through fir trees, a silhouette of a deer against Greystone towers, and the aroma of wet bracken permeating open passageways exemplify the delicate light often seen at Balmoral Castle during the early hours. On the morning of August 23, 2025, the Highland morning seemed less normal and more integral to the preparation. The amalgamation of late summer heat and the region's characteristic fog generated a stifling tension that pervaded both the nerves and the cameras. The members of Fleet Street's Royal Rota assembled outside the wrought iron gates, expecting nothing beyond potential for photographs of a dog in a kilt. While lamenting the lukewarm coffee, they exchanged glasses, disseminated tales on King Charles's diminishing schedule, and compared lenses. All were utterly astonished by the revelation that they were just minutes away from seeing the emotional metamorphosis of the Eastern monarchs. They entered the parlor. The parlor room of the castle, oriented to the north, had velvet walls embellished with portraits of George VI and Queen Victoria. 6 living royals occupied their positions: King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, Princess Catherine, Princess Anne, and Carole Middleton, who surprised many attendees. The staff members closed the substantial wood doors with a soft thud, more resonant than a cannon. Carole's gloved hands rested on a ribbon-bound packet of letters, the edges of which had become sepia with age. As William scrutinized Catherine's features, he saw the slightest tremor of her fingernail on the chair's gilded arm. Catherine's upright posture and folded hands indicated her entire composure. When the family needed a drill sergeant rather than a princess, Anne adopted the position of sentinel at a window with mullions. She executed this with her arms crossed in the pose she adopted. Commencement of the reading. Anne cleared her throat. She commenced with Her Late Majesty's personal correspondence to the Princess of Wales, her tone somewhat terse yet evidently cautious regarding the information she was poised to disclose. The Princess of Wales was the recipient of these letters. The first pages included domestic observations such as recommendations for alleviating jet lag in children and the preferred meals of the Queen's corgis. The tone subdued the room, Anne said as she opened the last package labeled 5 of June 2022, the day after the Platinum Jubilee balcony performance. Catherine will guarantee the throne's stability upon my son's abdication. The institution will sustain its necessary evolution due to her presence. The nape of Camilla's neck stiffened. Charles remained still, gazing at the fireplace grate. William instinctively grabbed his wife's hand, oblivious of his actions. In contrast, Carole Middleton, celebrated as the air hostess turned entrepreneur, finally exhaled the breath she had been holding for the last 3 years. Outside, a solitary corgi barked twice, signaling a significant change that even royal corgis could not overlook. A real-time consequence exists. In a duration of 90 minutes, the first rumor reached the press line. A junior equerry texted a colleague at the Times announcing, "We've just read massive Middleton Elizabeth papers. Historic." 20 minutes later, Sky News disrupted its scheduled programming. By lunchtime, TikTok users with handles such as Royal Decoder and Tea with Tiaras were meticulously analyzing Catherine's prior curtsies frame by frame. YouGov polling, executed swiftly via its rapid response panel, indicated that public support for Catherine's prospective leadership stood at 77%, reflecting a 20-point rise. Conversely, Camilla's favorability rating declined by 14 points. Politics Home noted that the monarchy hadn't experienced a shift of that magnitude since Diana traversed the minefields of Angola. Peasants at the entrance. Party Pieces is the organization responsible for raising a queen. People often trivialize Middleton's founding narrative, calling them party bag millionaires. However, it exemplifies the resilience of entrepreneurs in the 1980s. In 1986, Carol Goldsmith, who was pregnant with Catherine, resigned from her role as a transportation worker at British Airways. Her kitchen became the birthplace of party pieces when she recognized the gap between mainstream retailers and bespoke stationers. The company commenced sales with a 30-pound assortment of paper plates and helium balloons. In 1995, the company's revenue reached £1 million. She personally negotiated all supplier agreements frequently with Catherine and Pippa, organizing invoices after school. Carole rejected private investors and did not engage any external financiers. She required that each package include a handwritten thank you note, a practice employees recalled during Friday meetings. This philosophy later influenced Catherine's method of royal correspondence, which involved the exclusive use of genuine ink rather than a monogrammed autopen. Bucklebury's Code of Ethical Conduct. Oakleaf Manor, the abode of the Middleton family, was more an extensive suburban mansion than a traditional manor. Nonetheless, it evolved into a finishing school for the virtues that Buckingham Palace espoused but rarely enacted. The Middleton family rotated household duties weekly, expecting children to engage adults courteously when presenting ideas at the dinner table. Round table grumbles occurred on Sunday evenings, during which all expressed their grievances. This practice aimed to instruct the future Princess of Wales in resolving conflicts without resorting to outbursts. Upon Catherine's return from Marlborough College, where she recounted tales of ruthless dormitory politics, Carole responded pragmatically, "Address mean girls as one would, faulty party, bunting repair, what is salvageable, and discard what sags." This strategy prepared Catherine for navigating royal elitism in subsequent years. The event is titled The Courtship in the Crucible of St. Andrews. Catherine's initial meeting with William transpired not at the anticipated fashion show featuring a translucent dress, but rather 3 months prior during her clandestine organization of a charity auction that garnered $700 for a local hospice. William submitted a bid for an autographed rugby ball, and Catherine suggested that he donate a pint to the individual who had misplaced the ticket. This individual was the reticent physiotherapist for the team. Author Robert Lacey recounts the narrative of a dormitory neighbor who remarked, "Kate wasn't captivating, but she was reliant." William allegedly informed a friend, "That was groundbreaking in a realm of affluent pretenders." Another associate noted that William stated, "She's not attempting to impress me." This unusual approach is disarming. Their turbulent decade, punctuated by a separation in 2007, fortified Catherine's resolve. Instead of seeking sympathy from the paparazzi, Catherine chose to participate in a dragon boat charity race, which resulted in her being prominently featured in the media, her biceps prominently on display. The underlying message was clear: I will row the channel if you shatter my heart. Within 8 weeks, William returned. The initial assessments of Queen Elizabeth. The process of the monarch's approval of Catherine involved less tea and scones and resembled an obstacle course. The monarch invited Catherine to Balmoral for grouse shooting weekends to test her resilience in challenging conditions. Eventually, Susan Hussey conversed with biographer Sally Bedell Smith, stating, "The Queen wanted to know, could she traverse bogs at dawn and still engage in polite conversation by luncheon? Catherine succeeded, equipped with gumboots and a hairnet. Subsequently, Elizabeth executed a more nuanced assessment by surprising Catherine in the corridor of Buckingham Palace. The staff intentionally postponed Catherine, forcing her to navigate senior courtiers autonomously. She could recall names within weeks, a talent that Camilla had famously struggled to acquire in her youth. A functioning love tale. The globally observed wedding. On April 29, 2011, 2 billion people saw Catherine traverse the red carpet at Westminster Abbey. Pippa's dress had a minor zipper malfunction, causing a 20-minute delay before the ceremony. Nonetheless, a scant number of individuals recall this postponement. James Price, the hairdresser, said that Catherine remarked serenely, "Better a late bride than a wrinkled one," which alleviated the tension with laughter that echoed through the cloisters. The phrase "obey" was omitted from her wedding vow, reflecting Diana's example, but with a Middleton nuanced partnership instead of subservience. Catherine insisted on writing thank you notes to each florist, footman, and choir boy within a span of 72 hours. Carole addressed the royal servants' objections by sending an extra supply of fountain pens. Managing the strains of royal parenting. Upon the birth of Prince George in 2013, William and Catherine opted to reside at Carole's Bucklebury residence rather than employing Norland nannies for the first month of his life. The paparazzi established a presence in cornfields, and Carole instituted a policy of capturing just one shot of the newborn day to prevent excessive exposure. George's first utterances were "Nana" and "Copter," the latter influenced by William's tenure in the Royal Air Force. The Early Years Initiative was subsequently co-launched by Catherine, who referenced Bucklebury mornings, where reading time took precedence over status. Carole's impact was apparent in the campaign's design, which prioritized parental involvement, community playgroups, and self-sustained resilience. William and Catherine's responsibilities were delineated as follows. Catherine oversaw interpersonal contacts while William administered administrative activities. Catherine managed interpersonal interactions while William handled documentation. This informal norm developed throughout their professional relationship. During tours, Catherine was the first point of contact for lineups, and she would subtly communicate any issues to William for further correspondence. During her 2016 visit to India, she saw a child wearing footwear crafted from carrier bags. Kensington coordinated the production of a gift of shoes by British firms within a week. They certainly participated in a clandestine conflict. During the 2014 skiing trip, acquaintances recall a dispute over media intrusion. Catherine wanted to share informal family photographs, while William was concerned about establishing a precedent. They consented to a yearly exchange of images, but only under their stipulated circumstances. Subsequently, the system transformed into a royal protocol. The volume entitled Camilla, A Study in Contrast exemplifies this notion. Camilla's survival strategy was being inconspicuous while exhibiting a kind disposition. She refined her abilities in casual conversation. However, she never showed vulnerability toward others. Reports indicate that Camilla stated, "Hugs create headlines you can't manage." This remark, leaked by a footman, led to the emergence of hashtags like Cheshire Royal Hug Revolution and Queen of Hearts 2.0, underscoring the generational shift exemplified by Catherine's unsolicited embrace of Grenfell victims. The Queen's confidential correspondence. The discovery and custody procedures commenced. Following the demise of Elizabeth II on September 8, 2022, Princess Anne assumed the position of the de facto archivist for the royal family. Amidst numerous diaries and horse racing ledgers, she unearthed a small cedar box. Adhering to tradition, Princess Anne refrained from opening it for 6 months. She ultimately did so with the assistance of the Crown Equerry and the surveyor of the Queen's portraits. Inside, she found 32 letters addressed to "My dearest Catherine," each sealed with lavender wax and bearing the initials ER. This section is entitled An Exposition on the Nature of Monarchy. The correspondence merged a grandmother's devotion with a forebear's geostrategic insight. The subjects addressed included: the handbag semaphore signaled the message "Rescue me from this tedium" by tapping the clasp thrice. Color psychology used yellow to mitigate industrial strikes. Blue should be worn for reflection. Crimson should be eschewed in hospital wards, as it may lead patients to feel an elevation in their blood pressure. The adage, "never complain, never explain," has become obsolete in the media landscape. Instead, "acknowledge then redirect" should be adopted. The impactful letter that Elizabeth sent in April 2018 included an internal palace survey indicating that millennials saw Catherine as the principal reason they remained interested in coronations. Elizabeth said, "Your talent is translation. You convey the crown to the audience." Speculation has arisen regarding whether Anne or Catherine instigated the leak. However, this assumption is inaccurate. A junior IT technician working on digitizing the Queen's handwriting for the Royal Archives discovered the anchor quotation. This technician subsequently emailed his sister, who cryptically tweeted, "Wait until they hear the Queen's real succession plan." Journalists were able to piece together the information in under 30 minutes. Panic consumed institutions. Private secretaries devised 3 possible response scenarios: denial, contextualization, and acceptance. Despite the existence of letters, Charles opted to frame them as personal reflections. The public recognized the impact of these reflections on reality. Camilla's inquiry into the world. A shifting shadow of the Queen exists. Camilla's brand, rehabilitated through initiatives like reading groups and domestic abuse activism, relied on a polished and consistent demeanor. The letters undermine that foundation. Throughout the night, social media was inundated with images contrasting Camilla adjusting her tiara with Catherine kneeling to engage with a child in Birmingham. Intra-family conflict. Camilla's offspring. Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes sustained amicable relations with the royal family, yet occupied a negligible role within it. Following the leak from Balmoral, Camilla pressured Charles to appoint Tom to the logistics team of the Royal Collection Trust. The dispute concluded with Camilla exiting the room in tears, as reported by a staff member to The Mail on Sunday. William countered, asserting merit over matrimony. There was a confrontation at the December summit. On December 5, 2025, the green drawing room of Clarence House was accessible. Present were Charles, Camilla, William, and Catherine. Camilla proposed a strategy of rotating patronage to guarantee equitable visibility in the media. William responded, "Visibility follows validity." Catherine remained silent, her hands clasped together. "Do you believe crowds gather for handbags and hair?" Camilla inquired in answer to the query. It hung in the air. William said, "They attend for sincere reasons." The meeting then concluded. Balmoral heatwave. The library correspondence for the second round. This marked the warmest day in the Highlands since 1884, and Anne convened her family in the Balmoral Library. There are 3 concluding letters, one of which is a 9-page document addressing subjects such as mental health, typical childhood experiences, and Carole's suggestion to persist with counseling because she recalls the impact of bread prices. The image that initiated numerous cinematic productions. A photographer named Hamish McAllister, positioned near the River Dee, captured an image of Catherine exiting through a side entrance while clutching Elizabeth's diary, which was encased in tartan. The photograph was disseminated by Reuters, subsequently shared on Instagram, and ultimately became part of the historical record. Although Camilla's solitary figure was 4 feet away, body language analysts noted William's protective half-step behind Catherine. This composition conveyed more than a conventional news release would have. 3. Deluge of administrative responsibilities. The revised palace journals were finalized within 48 hours. What was the objective of Camilla's visit to the Commonwealth in spring 2026? William and Catherine have received it once more. Buckingham equestrians discreetly relocated the press office at Clarence House, coordinating their efforts with Kensington. Camilla responded strategically. Initiatives were executed swiftly. Reading Room 2.0 is a mobile library bus that traverses underprivileged communities. Camilla's sewing sessions were live-streamed as part of Queen's Quilts to generate revenue for hospices. Hospital hop denotes unexpected visits to NHS wards at irregular hours. Subsequent to the applause, the peak of online engagement reached 1.2 million. Catherine's unexpected visit to a juvenile facility in South London 2 days later garnered 18 million views on YouTube. This is the Parker Bowles proposal. When Camilla sought her daughter Laura's assistance to co-chair an arts gala at the V&A, she implored her to participate. Instead, Kensington Palace extended the invitation to Pippa Middleton, citing her pre-existing affiliations with charitable organizations. Consequently, following Camilla's retraction of the request, aides reported that the hallway was the most silent it had been since the Prince Andrew Newsnight controversy. War Rooms and Workflow Management Control, WKC. William presides over the weekly Monday meetings held in Kensington's Yellow Drawing Room. Catherine delivers a social impact summary, while Carole offers pragmatic assessments. Only 12 individuals receive the encrypted minutes, and others informally refer to it as War Room, but with Earl Grey, a protocol for Carole's softness. She refrains from using HRH styling and opts for economy plus travel, except when security necessitates otherwise. However, we can graphically illustrate her influence. Media engagement increases during Carole's appearances, even in peripheral frames. Dr. Selina Khan, a sociologist, refers to this phenomenon as matriarchal signaling, stating viewers connect because they recognize their mother. Anne's advocacy and endorsement of the proposal. Princess Anne's remarks to senior courtier, which were disclosed to the Telegraph, shocked royal traditionalists into consensus. She said, "Please identify anyone else capable of reconciling tradition and prams. In the interim, let us depend on Middleton's common sense, public judgment, and reduced future outlines." An Ipsos study performed in November 2025 reveals that 81% of participants feel Catherine would modernize the monarchy, 64% prefer William, and 29% endorse Camilla. A YouGov study done in December 2025 indicates that 48% of participants favor a phased retirement for Camilla, while 67% see that Catherine already embodies the role of queen. Relational monarchy has arrived, fewer tiaras, more discourse with toddlers, asserts the piece published in The Guardian. Middleton matriarchy, published in the Daily Mail. It constitutes a wager. The cover piece of the 12-page edition of Vogue UK titled The People's Tiara showcases Catherine. The palace has made changes to its policy. In 2028, Charles approved a notion termed co-regency light, which mandated that Catherine co-sign official papers during extended trips. Conforming to the framework of the Regency Act's constitutional observers predict that Parliament will officially endorse the idea. Interplanetary echoes. Canada integrates Catherine's early years methodology into the curriculum of Nova Scotia's provincial educational system. Discourse on the Republican Party in Australia has diminished to its nadir following the 1999 vote. In March 2026, a Gallup poll indicated that Catherine's favorability rating 56% exceeds that of the current president, 49% overall, a sovereign reconstructed by soft power. Although she doesn't have an official title, palace briefing documents include her counsel under the label CM Directive. This directive mandates that she react within 24 hours, express personalized gratitude, and evaluate success by smiles rather than speeches. The royal household comprehends the expense of sustenance and the significance of reciting bedtime tales. Catherine has proclaimed the coronation of trust. Elizabeth ascended to the throne when her writing converged with Anne's oration. Parades have occurred in every hospital corridor and school assembly since then. Upon ultimately donning the crown of St. Edward, it will seem to be a trivial formality. William said, leading by listening. Previously, flashbulbs troubled him. Today, he leverages them to his use, summoning the media just when there is substantial content to convey. His maxim, derived from Carole's party pieces era, was deliver then, decorate. A final effort by Elizabeth. Having acquired the game of chess from her father, the Queen executed her last move many decades before. Catherine imparted survival instructions using clutch signals and color codes, making the encryption impervious to hackers. The indelible photograph. On a windy October day at Windsor, William maneuvers a scooter and Charlotte's knapsack, while Catherine carries Louis, hiding her face with her hair, and Carole trails behind, securing George's coat. The monarchy, devoid of entourage and red carpet, endeavored to garner affection by presenting a more relatable front. The text discusses a reconfiguration of authority in the epilogue. The Middleton Confession did not dethrone. Instead, it facilitated a reformation. It demonstrates that many hands, some regal and others distinctly commonplace, can support crowns with less burden. The primary asset of the Windsor line is the woman who wrote thank you letters for party bags by candlelight and raised a daughter capable of commanding the attention of a kingdom. In contemporary society, when influence is quantified by engagement metrics and authenticity equates to financial value, the most significant asset of the Windsor line is the lady who authored these cards. The royal family is not positioned on marble pedestals. Instead, they occupy the floor of a Buckleberry kitchen, which is warm, well-worn, and sufficiently big for the next generation to dance upon. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.